Hello, YouTube. Thank you for tuning into my channel. This is Azrael, and today I'm starting off my tarot lessons. Now, before we get started, we are going to talk about history. Yes, it's boring, but it's good to know a little bit about it. All right? So, tarot cards, as we would understand them, actually did not appear until about the 14th century, okay, with the Triumphi deck. Now, this deck was completely used for playing cards, literally. Okay, just playing cards. There is a myth. There is a myth that's a very popular myth that tarot cards have their origin in Egypt. But actually, on my channel, I like to talk about things that can be documented, and the historical evidence by scholars that study this stuff, not just pagan scholars or occult scholars. I'm talking about actual scholars and historians. There's no evidence to prove that tarot cards before the 14th century even existed. Okay. Now, moving on, where did this legend come from? Well, first of all, it can be traced to a man by the name of Court de Geblen. Okay, his name was Court de Geblen in the 17th century. He wrote a book called yeah, Le Monde Prémotif. Le Monde Prémotif, yes. Anyway, Motif, or something like that. Anyways, it was in this book that started this myth. Even though famous occultists such as Aleister Crowley, not Crowley, he has his own version of the tarot deck, and he calls it the Book of Thoth. Okay, how this happened was Court de Geblen made this claim. He was a self-proclaimed Egyptologist. Okay, maybe not necessarily self-proclaimed. He was an educated man, but he claimed he was an Egyptologist. And first of all, back in the 17th century, they did not even know how to read hieroglyphs, okay, at this point in history. So why did he rationalize this? One of the reasons in his book is actually because the Popus card, which later became the High Priest card, he sat down and said, well, there's no female pope in Christianity, so this has to have its origin in ancient Egypt. All right, yeah, that's a jump. That's a big jump. But in any case, what ended up happening is that the occultists of the time that were practicing well-known magics that dated from back then, both Greek and Egyptian and folk magic at the time, they started taking the cards and assigning them meanings. Okay? And that's where we get the divination aspect of the cards, because after that original claim, the occultists of the time flooded to the tarot cards and then converted them and adapted them. When they started making tarot decks, they started superimposing ancient knowledge onto the cards. So tarot cards apparently did not start, at least from what we can tell, as a form of divination into the late 17th century, early 18th century, where other popular occultists started, like Eliphas Levi, which you probably know of, maybe not, but if you've ever seen the Baphomet, the goat pointing up and pointing down with sitting in an Indian kind of like style with his hoofs crossed, and he's got the breast, the goat head. That's a picture he drew, a very popular picture he drew. So about Hermetic secrets. So a lot of the early cards have a lot of Hermetic principles to them. Matter of fact, I'm going to be talking about these in sparsely because you don't really need to know them to actually interpret the cards or read the cards, but it's good to know because it gives you an extra bank. Okay, an example, he was the first one to assign the 22 arcana tongue twisted. The 22 major arcana to the 22 letters of the Hebrew alphabet, which corresponded to the 22 paths on the Kabbalistic tree of life used in ceremonial magic. Okay, so moving on. There's so many associations of these cards. I mean, you really, starting out, it can be really daunting. You'll be drowned in correspondences. So where's a person to go? Well, there's several different ways of interpreting them too, different systems. What if I take so much time and I learn the wrong one? They don't work for me. Well, hopefully I'll give you a couple of hints during these lessons, and you won't have to worry about where do you start. Okay, so that's basically it, a quick history. Now, starting out, I suggest everybody, my opinion, the best deck to start out for beginners is the deck that is most known to tarot readers. Matter of fact, it's so ingrained, most people who don't even read tarot cards have seen these pictures in these cards. Okay, this is the Rider Tarot deck. Now, Rider was the original publisher. It was designed by a man named A.E. Waits. He, if my memory serves me well, was a member of the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. So yes, you're going to have a lot of secret knowledge on these cards that you don't really need to know to interpret them. But I'm going to talk about them as they need to be talked about, which helps give you an extra platform. Okay, so this is the introductory video. Please, you must start out with these or something similar, because there's all kinds of different tarot decks, but some tarot decks, I have many, some of them don't even only have one picture, and it's all the way through the suits. And a lot of people, and a matter of fact, a lot of the meanings of the cards actually came from what's going on in the picture. So a lot of people read tarot cards by what they see in the picture, not necessarily the traditional meanings. But a lot of traditional meanings came from the pictures. So we'll talk about that. But again, so like in the Magician deck, you might, if you have a different tarot card deck, you might not understand what I'm talking about if you've never seen them. So the classic, start off with. Everybody at least should own this deck, in my opinion. Anyway, see you next video.